Okay, we're going to try that again. Had a phone call there, so anyway, starting over. Alright, so today I'm going to play a little bit of World of Tanks. So, departing from the DC Universe Online, I'll probably come back to that. It's just that last night I was surfing the internet and kept finding ads for the World of Tanks, and I was like, man, I love that game. I haven't played it in a while. This is very, very fun. It's not quite, an MMO RPG. I like the term MMO. I know a lot of people, if it's not EverQuest or World of Warcraft, they don't want you to call it an MMO, but really that just stands for massively multiplayer online. This is a big multiplayer game. There's lots of people who play this game, so it does count as massively. So what World of Tanks is basically just that. It's a world where all you do is play a tank, some kind of artillery piece, some kind of hardware from World War II. They just added French, but there's Russians, American, German equipment, and you start from little basic equipment, and over time as you play you earn experience and money and points, and you can build up to get bigger vehicles. So eventually, you can play like a King Tiger tank, T-34s. So all the popular hardware is represented, plus stuff I don't know if it's real or I've never heard of it before, but there's a lot of equipment choices: medium tanks, heavy tanks, light tanks, big artillery, little artillery. I played this way back in beta. It's been out of beta for a while. I just haven't played it recently. So I've got a couple vehicles here from after it went to beta. Beta, I really loved it because I got free gold. I could spend points, try out all kinds of different equipment. And then when it went live, it's a free gaming. So now I have to, if I want that gold, I have to actually spend real money on it. But I'm going to go ahead and spend some time in World of Tanks, off and on. I'll play other stuff too, but I'm going to hit World of Tanks. I thought what I would do is actually go ahead, come back in, because they did recently add French vehicles to it. And so right here I've got in my stable of vehicles a French Renault FT. So I'll go ahead and spend some time with the French. Now, one thing that you can do is customize your vehicles. And the way you do that is by research. So as you do matches, you gain experience points in this vehicle, which you can then open a research tree and spend those points to buy developments. Now you also gain slower like free experience that can kind of be spent on any vehicle. So the more time you spend in a particular vehicle, the more specific research points to that vehicle you get. You then earn free experience, which can be used to develop any other vehicle. So basically, once you have developed enough items in your particular vehicle, you then unlock upgrade paths to other vehicles. Then you have to buy those vehicles to use them. So for example, once I buy this suspension, and then I can eventually unlock this Hotchkiss light tank. After I then develop this gun path and a better turret, I could then unlock this D1 light tank. So you can just kind of pick a particular vehicle that you want to upgrade into. Now if you click on, say, that light tank path, you can then see what kind of upgrade options you have there, and then see that that would lead eventually into a medium tank, a D2. Now if you're not very keen, well, then eventually I can go into a heavy tank. Now if you're not particularly keen on a specific heavy tank path, I'm just kind of looking at some of these outlines. They might be a little darkened on your screen there. Some of these tanks, they might not look very exciting until you get like way into the later tanks. Like this AMX starts to look like a real cool tank. But it's going to take a lot of playing to build up to, say, this AMX 50 or this AMX 5120. I mean, it's going to take a lot of experience points. And then here, eventually near the end, the highest tank they have takes it's gold, or yeah, something you got to pay for, I think. Gold. I forget what the little gold symbol means now. It's been a while. But anyway, you do have these paths. Now, if you hit this research, yeah, that's the research button. What you can do too is up here you've got some different menu options here. Garage, you can come and see what you've got, and so they gave me this free French tank just to try out, which is cool. You can then go to the depot. Now this will let you check out what you have. Just another way to check what you have. Scroll through, and then if you want, you could sell it. I'm gonna not sell anything right now. Then you have the store. This will let you go and see kind of everything that's available other than searching through your research paths. You can kind of just shop the store, see what's available. So right now this is under all nations, all vehicle types, even display the unresearched vehicles. So this will let you kind of filter through and just take a look at everything. So if you want to get down nitty gritty, you could say, oh, China is kind of new. Takes some real life money to buy, but that's new. I hadn't seen a Chinese tank in there before. Very, very cool. But I could go ahead. Let me see what else I have. That was all the types. Alright, but like I could hit down to one of the staples, Germany. Then I could just look at specifically just the light tanks that they have. And I can see here that there's a lot of tanks I need to research still in that path. Medium tanks, for example. Quite a few. Now if you want, these gold tanks are a little bit stronger than the tanks that you can buy in-game. So if you want to get something a little bit better, you can go ahead and purchase gold with real money and buy yourself one of these better vehicles. Heavy tanks. So if you want to just get right into the big battles, you can go ahead and shell out some money. I haven't bought any currency, so I really don't know what the conversion rate is. I happen to have 500 gold, but I think that's because from beta testing, and then they do different promotions over the holidays. They sometimes give you free money so you can try using it out. I haven't just spent any yet, but here's their staple of heavy tanks, even up to the mouse. I mean, very, very big tanks. Then they got their staple of tank destroyers, and then you've got the artillery. So I got a little bit of money here. Let me look at French. So let me see what all they've added for French. So with French, we've got some light tanks, and they did give me one for free. Medium tanks, they have a few here, not many. And they got a few heavy tanks. Now, because they just added the French, they don't have as many vehicles as, say, Germany and Russia, which is what they started with originally. They later added the Americans, and then recently now the French. And there's no tank destroyers for the French yet, and no artillery. Now, the USA has been in here for a little bit, not as long as the other groups, but they didn't have tank destroyers for a while, and now they do. So that's awesome. So USA now has some tank destroyers. Tank destroyers are actually pretty cool. I actually prefer artillery and tank destroyers because I'm not very good with just the tanks and running around. Now, light tanks I'm good, because if you build up the speed of your light tanks, you can scout the battlefield. Every vehicle that you see, that will count for credit. If it gets killed, you'll get experience for the kill because you spotted it for other folks. And spotting is very important, especially for when I play artillery. I love artillery. If other vehicles can spot an enemy, I can then see it if I'm within radio range, and then I can drop artillery on it. Works out really, really good. I do a lot better with artillery. Tank destroyers I do real good too. To me, I consider those to be like the sniper type classes, DPS. You just sit back from the action. Once you see an enemy vehicle come within range, you just start pinging at it. It's very, very cool. And then, of course, tanks. If I had the time and patience to really build up a heavy tank, that I might enjoy because they take a lot of damage. They dish a lot of damage. But I haven't ever really built that high yet, so I usually stick with destroyers and self-propelled guns. But today, we're going to do the French. So, let's go ahead and close that out. So there's a store. You can go buy stuff once you've built up enough coinage and experience points and research. Basically, when you start with one of these free tanks, this is as poor can be. It's not going to survive very long. Now, fortunately, when they do the matchmaking, they do take into account what you're using versus what the other people are using. So they try not to throw your piddly light tank up against a whole bunch of tigers, because they know that's not going to work. They do have kind of a matchmaking service. So when I start with this, I will be matched with a lot of other lower level light tanks, like this Cunningham, for example. This is the starting American tank. I've upgraded it a little bit. You then have the starting German tank. I think I've upgraded this one a little bit as well. And then you have the Russian starting tank. And I think I might have done 1 or 2 upgrades to this. And then today we're going to go ahead and give the French. Looks kind of similar to the starting Russian tank there. Alright, so once we've got our starting vehicle in mind, I'm going to go ahead and, well, here's statistics. You can track your victories, losses, battles. So since beta, like I said, I haven't played much. The game's been out for a while. I've got 43 battles. It tells you which vehicle you've played, your victory ratio. I've done 2